We know both top laners play the Jace. We know that it's a high priority pick for both teams, often Mad Lions. But yesterday we saw them prioritize things like Gragas Jace, just having that flexibility and just control over the jungle and top side of the map. What will their priority be? Do they want to lock in their AD carry now? Do they want to get the Zyre? And it looks like that's exactly what they'll do. You talked about it earlier, Dagda. The top laners falling lower in the priority list, suggesting the Mad Lions, they must be ready for a Jace or a Kennen to come out from the side of Vitality.
Yeah, I think the thing is that for Vitality, they probably want to lean into strong team fighting, right? Photon, I think, has looked pretty good on the Jace, but I think taking the Kennen away nearly kind of helps out against Chasey. Yamato, we were only chatting backstage, myself, Yamato and Goldberg, about how whenever we've seen Chasey on the Jace, it hasn't been the strongest of picks for him. So maybe the opportunity to take that away, especially if you're going to go with the Lucian, but you're actually just going to leave it away, take the Nami instead.
So Lucian Army locked in, didn't go for that Aphelios, didn't go for that scaling option. You see what success this will have. I know Dracos will be seething at home, seeing that one locked in. What do you make of this? Because the bot lane in particular was a big talking point coming into the series.
Well, we know that Upset and Kaiser, it's one of Upset's go-to champions, right? He is inherently a lane-dominant player, and when you get your hands on Lucian Nami, the aim of the game is to dominate in the 2 versus 2. By locking in their mid lane, this gives Vitality a lot of agency to remove some of the obnoxious support picks. Things like Nautilus, potentially even a Leona, or maybe Rel, Thresh, all these obnoxious things that can get in the way to give you a lot of power in the 2 versus 2 and start accruing advantages to the bot side of the map.
I am curious what Perkz wants to go for in the mid lane though, because I definitely think if you have something like the Lucian Nami, you want something that can play in towards, well, push and then try to roam. You've also got the Maokai there, which does open up the AD mid laners, so already you're going to see the Yone taken off the board. I would be very surprised if we don't see Mad Lions target ban that Jace as well now, because you've got that flexibility between mid and top.
Watch the Kennen Nocturne to come out once again from Vitality. We did see it yesterday from G2, but the Jace now being removed via Vitality, this does increase the strength of that Kennen potential pick. It's a question of, are they fine giving it over to the Mad Lions? Are they fine giving it over to Chasey? Or is this something that they want to actually take away themselves?
Yeah, I think they're kind of trying to bait Chasey into taking the Kennen, because I think you can still go for things like the Kled and stuff, and then we've seen Photon run it really well in the past. You get a ton of speed up, a ton of engage onto Mad Lions, which I think will help out quite a bit for what Vitality are trying to achieve, especially in the mid game. But Tristana now going to be taken off the board. We'll have to see exactly what the game plan is here now, as Vitality have the last plan.
So final ban here from Vitality, and we'll find out which lane it will be targeting. And second look then for Mad Lions, giving Chasey the option, or Hylissang the option to counter Kennen will be banned away, just like you guys were talking about, and priority raising up. A couple of those mid lane AD champions removed from Perkz. So what does he want to run into this Ahri? And how do Mad Lions round out the draft? I mean, is there any pick you're leaning towards to be paired up with this Zyre, as Nautilus is now locked in?
Yeah, I was just going to say Nautilus, good answer. Hook champion into the fish always works well.
Certainly does. It's also just one of the go-tos. Zyre, Nautilus, a very powerful 2v2 bot lane. I'm just curious as to what Vitality go for now. Are they going to keep it safe? It looks like that's the direction that they're heading in. A little bit surprising, quite frankly. I thought that they had something prepared for the top side of the map, given that top lane kind of fell through the draft so heavily. But it seems that being able to ban away both the Jace and the Kennen, how will they round things out? Cassio locked in for the mid lane, still going for an AP option. You expect AD, maybe even a Gnar, Cassante. Looks like that's what they're going to go for.
Yeah, just going to go straight for the team fighting and have that opportunity to scale into the later portion of the game with the Cassiopeia. I am curious now what Chasey wants to try and take into this, though. Maybe it is just a case of trying to go back towards something like a Scion, match tank with tank, but I feel like if you end up going for that style, you just lose out in the long run.
We're going to find out in a second, but I will ask Betty, when you zoom out and look at Vitality's comp, especially in comparison to the 0-3 series against BDS, a much more clearer concept here. Get into those deep fights and you've got a pretty well-rounded comp to pull that off.
Well, I think they primarily want to play through the bot side of the map. They knew that their top lane matchup was going to get countered, so they decided to go for something as safe as possible, and Cassante has always been known as that. So he's going to be reliable, pretty safe, pretty self-sufficient. While I think Vitality is going to look to try and find advantages in the bot side. They do obviously have a lot of team fighting power, but I also think that Mad Lions have a lot of mobility and a decent amount of disengage. Things like Gwen to be able to buy a lot of time, the dashes and the lockdown chain CC of both Vi and Ahri, along with the self-peel that Zyre is going to have for herself. I think that Mad Lions have a lot of tools to mitigate what I would argue is somewhat limited engage from Vitality when you're kind of relying on the enemy coming into you when you have a Maokai and a Nami as your primary major CC tools.
And they don't really have any reason to try and do that. You've got Gwen on the top side. You can just let her split push, have her TP in whenever. So, I mean, across the board, I think it's a good answer for Mad Lions. And we'll have to see if Vitality can try and get that ball rolling early so then they don't have to, or see these they can force objective fights and be in a good spot.
What I think is interesting is Vitality have been known as a team that rely heavily on their skirmishing prowess. They like the 2v2s. Wukong Ari was their typical go-to setup. But now Mad Lions is the one with the stronger skirmishing. They're the ones with the slightly stronger mid-game. They're the team that in these 3v3s can often come out ahead, especially against the Maokai. So it's Vitality that have to keep the pace of the game relatively slow, try to get their bot side of the map ahead, while I think that Mad is going to try and unlock their mid-jungle and try and get things happening.
Well, let's find out what happens as we're hitting Summer's Rift. Welcome to game one in this best of 5, where Vitality have started their campaign towards finals. Taking a quick look here at the pretty defensive starts for the time being. I really like the breakdown you were giving, Vedius, just in terms of the skirmishing and maybe some of the tempo that Mad Lions could look to employ. As you see Bo and Alyoya on the Rift, do you have any early expectations of where they might want to be pathing or making plays, as Hilly's already at least threatening here? Perks, Dredge line easily sidestepped, no real risk there.
Well, in terms of this early game, we can see that Vitality is looking to get a bit of early information. Yesterday, we saw Yike make a similar sort of play and get punished at level 1.
Yeah.
Always a bit of a danger to go alone. That's why Photon was there to offer some assistance. But when we kind of look at early pathing, I really expect Vitality to path towards the bot side of the map. I think that it's really important that you try to play and leverage this Lucian army as much as you can. It is your strongest lane in the early game. Wouldn't be surprised to see Bo actually do a full clear bot into potential invade on the bot side with the pressure that they have in bot. I am curious as to who's going to get that prio in mid lane. Early level 1, Cassio doesn't have a huge amount of push. You can see that Perk's deciding to start with the E. Makes it easier to last hit those minions, along with a bit of a trading tool. But it's really when you get that poison plus E combo that you actually start getting a little bit of wave clear. But Ari also just, at the early levels, naturally has a lot of wave clear thanks to her skill set.
Especially when Niski starting on the Q, you'll have a decent amount. There's a lot of people who are starting W in a lot of these matchups just so you can go for the easy trade. It's super low mana cost as well, so you can very effectively trade when it comes to the mana pool. But it means that Niski at least should be in a spot to try and hold the wave where it is, as Perks just hits the level 2.
I absolutely love looking at all 3 lanes. For the time being, it looks like Vitality pushing forward. I do want to keep a close eye on Photon and Chasey throughout the course of this series. So both of these players have been incredibly aggressive and willing to fight all throughout the spring split. Down in the bottom lane, you can see Kaiser and Upset already pushing into the tower. Bo also making his way down there too.
So you can see the game plan. We talked about it earlier. Bo wanting to play through a strong side of the map. Early vision invested, but Alyoya adapted. Thanks to the ward that was dropped on the Raptor pit, he was able to understand exactly what Bo was trying to do. He knew that he would lose push bot. He also recognized that Perks was hard shoving in mid, so he did red into his blue. And now Bo is trying to steal away what camps that he can.
Look at the mini-map. Niski's already roaming. That's a dash over the wall from Alyoya. Bo steps out. Hilly's coming too. Bo down to 100 HP. Bramble Smash buys some time. Alyoya's trying to get in range, looking for those denting blows. Bo seems to have escaped for now. Perk's still holding onto that flash. Finally goes away. The Ignite is tick, tick, boom, and Mad Lions with first blood. Dredge line connects onto Kaiser, who's the next target. The charm pulls him backwards, and Mad Lions will find 2 kills to open the game.
And that was the big trade that Perks made in trying to have that roam come across. The wave got frozen in front of the tower for Niski. He dings 3 first, immediately starts to come across with the Nautilus as well, and Mad Lions get 2 on the board.
I mean, Vedi, you talked about the skirmishing prowess, but I do think that was a little bit gift-wrapped in some ways. Bo stepping very far forward.
Well, my biggest question is what happened with Upset, because I saw him back in base, and I think the only way that this works for Bo is if... Oh, hang on, Perks is in danger.
Oh, Foxfire forward. Charm connects as well. Hilly gets the boop, gets around the minion. Dredge lights out. Niski's taken down. The reply comes out, though, from the burn. Now Alyoya, as well as Hilly, looking for Bo, waiting for the Q timer on Hilly. 5 seconds to go, and Bo escapes with his life.
Okay, so Perks ends up dropping. Well, I actually thought that he died in the last skirmish. He did end up escaping. TP's back into lane. Able to get a kill onto Niski, which is at least something, but Niski finds himself with 3 kills in the early. You can already see himself sitting on that lost chapter. and it's such a big item to pick up for Ari in the early game. It gives you so much additional mana, and Perks is starting to suffer in terms of XP.
And Niski's going to make it so much worse for Bo now as well, starting to move across, making sure that Ayoya can steal away these top camps. You got pushed there for chasing the top lane, so there's not a huge amount that they can really do to respond here.
So the idea, we talked about it coming into this game. You asked Trev, what are we expecting from Vitality? You have a push bot, you said, oh, I don't have time. He's going to gang top, isn't he?
I get a feeling that this might be what the series plays out throughout the course of the day. Look at the minimap. Bo is chasing to this top lane, but I don't know if a skirmish is going to break out just yet.
But it's just one of those situations where we wanted Vitality to slow the game down, and I think it's totally fine to want to try and leverage your strength to steal away some camps, get what advantages you can, but Ayoya read it. His pathing was good. He punished Bo for trying to set up that invade, and I think the Bo just overcommitted. He's trying to contest these walls when his bot lane isn't actually moving up. His mid can collapse, but Niski's able to get there first. And overall, it's a situation where Vitality tried to force a play that they didn't need to. And now Mad, looking for those skirmishes, is able to get one right off the bat and already find themselves with a 3-1 kill advantage.
Also, the fact that Perks didn't get to crash that second wave meant that Niski was able to hit level 3 super easy and then dip over. So it was just super nice timing there for Niski hitting the level 3 and having that advantage as he came across, whereas Perks had to go back to mid before he could help out. So giving Mad this massive advantage now. We're talking about, hey, look, you want to try and play aggressive as Upset and Kaiser on the spot lane. You've got a 3-kill Ari in the mid lane with a ton of mana. She just pushes and roams bot and makes her life difficult.
And keep in mind, Hylissang has roamed several times. I mean, we're 6 minutes into the game, and we've seen him in the mid lane several times already. Ayoya's inside the Dragon Pit, level 5. Bo waiting in this bottom lane. Dredge line connects. There's the Hex Flash forward, and Hilly will be the first target. Easily cut down. Baits secured.
I think that kill needed to go across the Upset though. Bo kind of taking that extra auto attack. Ayoya though will have Karzi now roam over, so they get the dragon at least, but just greedy from Hilly, over aggressing when he didn't know where Bo was.
A situation where Bo cleverly found his way into the bot lane. Bo very unlikely to gamble a steal here. Ayoya should be able to pick this one up for Mad Lions. But I think it was actually the Aftershock that yoinked that kill at the bot lane. So a little unfortunate there for Bo. But overall, Mad Lions still in a good position. I think the fact that Niski already hitting that level 6, having so much wave clear in the mid lane, is going to be so valuable. And as you rightly said, I wouldn't be surprised to see Niski start roaming very soon.
Look at Hilly again. Hex Flash over the wall. Still got that Ignite. Dredge line will not connect Perks or the wall.
Dangerous.
But I mean, that's what, the third time already that he's been roaming. Hilly's looking to make an impact. Charm connects. So there's the W, and obviously under the tower, Niski's not going to look for the 100-0, but great start, and now Niski once again the recipient of more time. I mean, it's literally just live in Perks' lane for the time being.
I mean, there's nothing for Hilly to do in bot lane. Karzi's just gone back to base, wanting to spend some of the gold he's picked up, so he's just hovering around mid, and it's very much what we've come to expect from the Mad Lions, and a playstyle very known for Hylissang as well, where he likes to work with the jungle to play through mid.
Oh yeah, he just cancelled his reset in mid. They want to try and make a play on bot side Upset, and Kaiser though will read it, so they will end up backing away.
So level 6 for Upset. He's got the culling. He's also got a 20 CS lead. 500 gold up over Karzi. I think a lot of that to do with the fact that obviously been pushing under the tower. Hilly's been roaming. That Cole still has 50 stacks, and Mad Lions is only a minor gold lead for now. But crucially, they've been able to respond to all of Vitality's plays and look at the vision set up as well on the top half of the map.
Also the reset coming in just in time for Rift Herald. That's why Ayoya is mid.
Well, cease, desist, charm, and this is just clean. Easy kill for Mad Lions.
And it's, as you rightly said, quick shot, it is just so easy. The Ignite was something I wanted to comment on earlier. You see a bunch of different rune choices on Ari, and being able to get that early Ignite when she's already in such a powerful position, such a big advantage gain. Vitality are attacking mid so aggressively, they're leveraging the strengths of their composition, and they're off to a fantastic early game start.
Really good calls from Ayoya as well. He stops his recall in mid lane to get the play on bot, which forces Upset and Kaiser to reset. Then he immediately goes mid before he's even reset as well, so he can use the level 6 to catch Perks who's trying to push out that wave, so you can use that reset from Vitality's bot lane to go for Rift Herald. Great timing across the board from Ayoya there to pick off Vitality.
I mean, this has just felt brutal from Mad Lions. They punish Bo's overstep early on in the game, and then just really consistent pressure in the mid lane from Hilly, as long as the rest of the Mad Lions has unlocked that gold lead. Niski and Ayoya leading the pack. They've got themselves a Rift Herald. The lanes have been bamboozled for the time being. You can see both Gwen and Cassante down bottom. I just caught a glimpse there as Karzi's starting to back off. So for Mad Lions, going to be exceptionally happy with how this first 10 minutes of gameplay has played out. But I do think it's kind of what you were hoping to see a little, Vedi, in terms of like the skirmishes or like utilizing the comp. maybe it was a bit earlier than we were anticipating in draft.
I mean, and so much credit needs to be given to the Mad Lions, especially when you look at their regular season, how they started going into the group stages. Expectations were so low for this team and this organization. People thought that they had fallen off after their performance in winter, securing the final spot. People thought that they wouldn't really make it far in group stage, but for them to be in this position already in game 1 against Vitality after a grueling 5 games that had pauses, incredibly long day yesterday, to come in like this, a strong start for the Mad Lions, and it seems they found what they need for success.
And I think a huge amount of that has been going back towards comfort, and a lot of that has been for Hilly, the man himself. For the 17th, 18th time, I think he's been mid lane now, and he's going to see if he can make it work again. But it is that roaming from Mad Lions bot lane that has been so crucial to getting Niski ahead, allowing Niski then to cover side lanes while Elyoya tries to make a play top. It's been this back and forth across the map, and it might work out once more as they keep their eyes on purpose.
I'm literally watching Elyoya. Cease and desist available. Hilly's coming around behind the chicken camp. Bo is at the blue buff, so the engage is now coming. Cease and desist connects, charm perfectly timed, and once again, a very good dive. Took a few seconds longer than maybe Mad Lions would have liked, but clean and they get another kill.
Yeah, the chain CC wasn't quite maximized there from Mad Lions. Both the hook and the charm connected at the same time. But overall, they're still able to secure the kill. The Ignite invested by Hylissang shuts down Perkz once again. And the reason why, especially over in the LPL, Ahri Wukong, Ahri Vi, the Sandra Vi, all this stuff is so powerful is because of how easily you can attack this lane and how easy it is to build up advantages. Great play from the Mad Lions. They find another kill.
Someone check in on Yamato Cannon and his vid connect and how he's feeling. Down 2,000 gold. Reminder, Vitality lost to BDS 0-3. A little bit run over, and right now they're going to have to try find some way to come back. One thing I will say, their composition will do well later on if they can buy enough time, because they ideally want man to dive onto them. They do have disengaged tools, but the margin of error gets slimmer and slimmer the further they fall behind.
I think they're about to hit that big point, though. When you get this reset off, Upset will pick up his Gale Force. Then you can start to look towards things like Dragons and that. But actually, Vitality are just sticking around on this top side, so not actually wanting to go for this next Dragon, which I think is a little bit surprising. I think it could definitely help them in finding those mid-game fights, or, you know, the 25 to 30-minute fights, so they can try and utilize the fact that Upset is still relevant in the game.
Oh, well, Elyoya has managed to sneak his way through vision. Perkz thinks that he's safe, but he
4,
is not.
3, 2, 1. Vi Bunches jumped in, cease and desist out. Another clean kill. I mean, Perkz has been playing 1 versus 5 in this middle lane. The tower is now under threat. While that is going on, though, keep an eye on that top lane. We haven't checked in on Upset in a little while. Still up 20-odd CS, pushing, taking a number of plates, and now trying to buy some time with Hylissang's help. But I mean, for Perkz, this has just been a focused shutdown from the Mad Lions.
Niski even missed the charm onto Perkz, and it didn't really matter. Great trades continue to come through. Niski going for the Leandries. A lot of damage early on in the game. And this mid-jungle is just being a menace right now. Mad Lions have dominated this early game. And remember we said in the draft that, oh, hang on a second. Niski going for the kill.
The charm is flashed away from. You're always going to use that next charge. Will just about get rooted up, but support is there, and the Dragon will start it. So Bo almost taken out in his own jungle. The Dragon will be secured a little later than maybe we were hoping for, but it's the second one down. 6 kills to 2, and Mad Lions in absolute control.
And the thing is, Mad Lions have been doing such a good job of keeping vision in their favor so they can continue to make these plays. They see Photon on bot, they have a ton of vision that has just died in that bottom side jungle, so they knew they were safe to make that play. Now they're getting the Dragon. They're going to try and go onto JC, but he's just going to back away. And even look at where the AD carry Karzi is positioned as well. He's going to be happy to clear out these waves in mid and just try and get some solo XP for himself.
No tower's fallen just yet, and we can see obviously a number of plates secured pretty much across the map. So for Mad Lions now, where do they prioritize their next step? No TPs available for Chasey or Niski. And a recall will just about finish there for Elyoya as Karzi flirting with the idea of coming down to that bottom lane. He looked like he was catching waves mid, but a couple of those mythics have now been secured. Mad Lions sitting very comfortable. But 4 minutes till the next Dragon. No real waves to push just yet. But you have to expect they're going to start focusing on one of these towers.
But the thing is, for Vitality, you want to try and move Upset into mid lane. You like the Lucian there with the Maokai. You throw in the ultimate with the Lucian, with the Maokai as well, and just rinse someone. Absolutely destroy them. The problem is, though, we've seen 4 already attempts on Perkz' life and 4 successful attempts on Perkz' life. And if he moves to a side lane where you're against an Ahri or a Vi, it's going to be so difficult for him to try and hold on to these turrets. And I think that's where Vitality are going to struggle.
And the one thing I want to see from Mad Lions is that clean play, and when they do set up those ganks, when they do look for those skirmishes, We have seen a couple of small missteps or falters from Mad Lions throughout all of their games, to be fair. And Vitality do have the tools to punish, so if Mad Lions continue to execute well, I think they can maintain control of the game. Looked like there was a potential attempt in mid lane there as Alyoya is waiting the chickens, but not going to go for it. Instead, you know, I'm going to step into the river here, looking for the second Rift Herald. Do Vitality want to contest? Upset dashes onto Kazi. Looking at the river, doesn't look like they'll be there in time, but maybe they just might, Hector.
No TP on Photon means they gotta wait for him to arrive, and it's taking a long out wall. Mad should be able to finish this off, but Vitality, can they take the fight after?
Well, Sapling Toss comes out. Nature's Grasp is dropped. Kazi, Gale forces away. Culling starts to hammer down. Hylissang drops. Bo gets the kill and loses his life to Niski. Now Photon's looking to chase. Perks goes for the petrifying gaze. Manages to lock down 2. A long-range cease and desist. The feathers fly, and Vitality are wrecked. They are running for their lives, and despite a hero effort from Perks, it's too little. It's Mad Lions looking for the ace.
One more auto from Niski will find Photon and shut down Vitality. What started off so well went so badly so quickly.
7, 1, and 4 for Niski Zari. 100% kill participation. And he closes this fight up beautifully.
So the engage looks promising, but Kazi split off on the side, and you think that initially that's good as Hylissang drops, but now your front line disappears. Kazi's left untouched, and while the engage looks great from Perks, a very fast stopwatch from Niski, and a great ultimate from Alyoya forces the damage roll upset back. And look at this ultimate from Kazi. He got so much damage down with the ulti combined with the Feathers combo that with Vitality being funneled into this choke point, they got completely torn apart. Fantastic reactions from the mid-jungle from Mad Lions once again as they walk away the victors.
Look at the coaching staff over the moon. I mean, when Kazi got zoned away, I was initially very trepidatious for the fight, but as Vitality retreated, the Feather Storm was absolutely fantastic. So Mad Lions extend that lead even further now. 4,500 gold, 11 kills to 4. They've got their first turret as well. And with 1.5 minutes until the next dragon, Mad Lions have got all the tools they need. And the thing that's really good about their comp is they will be able to single out targets wherever they apply pressure. So there's not going to be a lot of time for Vitality to respond.
And that's why at the moment Vitality are trying to see if they can catch that window where no one's on bot to collapse in mid, but they're not really getting an opportunity. But with mid tower down now for Vitality, Mad just get to push mid, then they can roam to sides. And this is a pause-filled weekend, it would turn out.
When we have more information, of course, we will share. I can see that the pause has come from Vitality's side, but again, right now we don't have a lot of information. But wow, what a great start for the Mad Lions. One of the reasons why I think Vitality fell short against BDS was that they came into that series with a very skirmish-heavy mindset, right? They consistently drafted the Wukong with things like the Ahri, and they wanted to fight you, and the mid-jungle was very strong, and it was all about finding great 2v2s, 3v3s, and dominating in the early game, and BDS never gave them any windows. They were like, we're only going to fight, we're only going to punish your mistakes, we're going to take it very slow, we're going to calm down. Then coming into today, Vitality's like, okay, maybe that's the meta. We have a strong bot side of the map. We have a lane that we can play through, but we're going to try and slow the game down. But they don't slow the game down. They still play the way that they've always played, except with the composition that ideally wants to slow down a little bit more. And Mad were quick to punish.
And I think especially off that first invade, that was just a massive mistake from Vitality.
Massive.
The fact that you can't actually now use Bo to play around bot side, we've had these 2-item spikes coming through for the Lucian Nami for the past 3-4 minutes, and we haven't seen them got to utilize it at all, because one, the way the team fights have been set up, but two, they don't have control of the map for Maokai to just get to mid, to work around them, to do anything with this Lucian Nami.
So very quickly, I am hearing from League officials that Upset has reported FPS issues, and while the League officials are investigating, we'll have a couple of minutes to talk. I think I want to go back to what you guys were saying about specifically how BDS were able to beat Vitality last week, and how I was a little nervous about Mad Lions and whether or not they'd be able to play cleanly enough or perform those proactive plays without opening windows for punishment. And so far this game, it has been brutal. You can be very nitpicky in some of the CC has landed, but ultimately it's been great. And I'm going to give a little bit of results-based analysis here. Is this the best Ahri we've seen all spring? Now again, results-based, okay? He's been capped. Yes, I understand what I'm doing. I understand what I'm doing. The reason I wanted to just bring it up is like Ahri as a champion, I think is 2-9 throughout spring. Niski particularly is 1-2. Now, it's not the champion. He's been gang fought. They played around him.
Niski's really good at eating spoons of food. Yeah.
But I think that's actually the really interesting part, because when you look at like game 1 yesterday for Mad with the Lissandra, and the Lee Sin, we didn't get to see Elyoya and Niski really working together.
They did try.
They did try, but it didn't really work out, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is a big difference maker here. We can see, okay, well, we got this early player in the Ari. Now we can just hammer this lead home and make sure that Vitality aren't able to play the game. It's such a nice moment to actually see these two guys working well together.
And I'll tell you something now as well. Hylissang's Nautilus has been so influential this game. I think the Lucian not being locked in early immediately tells you how that lane's going to play. And Mad Lion's like, we know what to do. We don't care. Sack the lane. Let Kazi drop 20 CS behind, because if he can spoon feed Niski in the mid lane, that's what's going to buy enough time for Kazi to have impact later. I do see the players starting their ready check, so with a little bit of luck, we'll be jumping back into game in a moment or two. But I do think it'll be an interesting question for looking ahead in the series. What will be the priorities? What will be adaptive? Because right now, Mad have just executed this comp exceptionally well.
Because in a situation like this, you'd be looking at oh, well, Perks on Cassio, maybe he can be that late game insurance, but he's so far behind. Comparing the gold, there is a 2.7k gold difference between the mid laners. Like, you would need a bunch of shutdowns, you would need a miracle fight to really get Perks involved in this game again, and it's just going to be a matter of Mad maintaining the pressure. I think the most impressive thing about this game is Elyoya's awareness of the map is incredible. He is constantly stealing camps. He is always getting the better of Bo. He has been in the right place at the right time consistently, and he hasn't eased up on this pressure in the mid lane either. Elyoya is dominating the map, and with the dragon spawning in 40 seconds, you expect that to be the priority for the Mad Lions.
Especially with the vision that they're getting down. Vitality, though, look like they're not even going to bother with it. They're just going, hey, look, you guys, go take your dragon, go set up your vision. We're just going to try and put pressure elsewhere in the map. And this is something that we got to see Vitality do a lot back in the winter split, but when there's a Rift Heart on the opposite side, it's not exactly the best of trades, because now Mad Lions will get to push on towards the tier 2 against the Maokai, but we'll just back away.
Silver lining. Bounty on that top tower. Don't worry about it. Look at that second shot. It's 10 seconds until the dragon spawns. This will be the third of the game here for Mad Lions. Vitality starting to congregate. Teleport's not available for Perks, and I don't really know if they want to look for this fight. Mad Lions have got enough vision, and look, Perks still making his way down.
I don't think you can fight this as Vitality. Like, as you say, no TP for Cassiopeia, no vision control at all. Even Niski TP'd back into the mid lane to make sure that he could get mid-push to deny Vitality even access through River. So this is going to be an easy pickup for Mad Lions. Third Dragon, and I mean, Hex Dragon as well for this squad is going to be painful for Vitality.
So you expect the next objective that Mad play for is this top tier 1. Now that they've invested so much on the bot side of the map, you expect them to then start transitioning all that to the top side. You can send Chasey down towards bot lane. He still has the TP to get involved in any exchanges. But again, you're constantly looking for the next objective. And while Elyoya, I think, is a little deep right now, he is kind of covering for his bot side of the map. They're actually kind of have their eyes set on this tier 2 in the bot lane. I was expecting them to reset, but they saw a window here, and they're hoping to grab this tower.
Oh, Bo starting to step backwards. That's a flash forward from Hilly. Dredgeline comes up. Nature's Grasp flies for. The tower's been secured. Here comes Niski and the rest of the Mad Lions. That's already the tower and a kill secured. Teleport's coming forward, and Perks already running for his life. Chasey continues to throw out those snips and needleworks, and Kazi gets another kill. 2 down, a third secured, and Mad Lions on the inhibitor turret at 19 minutes. And just by the way, 18 stacks for Niski's Medjai Soul Stealer. Inhibitor secured. The Mad Lions are looking to make a statement.
Incredible confidence from Mad. I thought that they would just play the map, take their time, play for the next easy objective, but they saw a small window, and Hilly, that was a typical Hilly play. That play could have gone horribly wrong. But the way in which Mad Lions followed that up, nothing but confidence. And it feels like that to see this team play with this level of confidence, you can see that that win yesterday meant so much to them. Vitality now on the offense.
All right, Elyoya's going to Hexgate away. TP drop by Photon, and there's no target. There's nothing to play for. There's no objectives. And the only thing Vitality can look forward to is farming supers. But look at the support. I didn't catch quite how close Elyoya and Niski were once Hilly engaged.
It's also just the fact that no damage is really close by either. Perks is still trying to make his way to the fight. You don't have upset there either. So your main damage dealer is, well, Photon, your tank. So Mad Lions just get to collapse and easily clean this one up. And I appreciate after this that Vitality try to make a play with Photon, because maybe they can get the Baron, but it's now Mad Lions who are on it, as you can see in the picture-in-picture.
My eyes a little bit. That is 18 stacks, right? Yeah. I was just looking at that. Niski
it is a silly number.
The Medjai's right before the fight began. With the supers in the bottom lane, now Baron down to 3,000. Vitality will arrive just in time to watch it secured. Nature's Grasp is thrown out. Tidal Wave's available, and Hilly's going to be the first target. Knocked up, Aqua Prison to follow. Not enough damage. The Charm has connected, and Perks is taken out. Niski gets yet another. Bo will be felled. And despite what looked like a little bit of damage, it's Mad Lions once again closing. The Charm will connect, and Kaiser dropped to 200. Culling will at least send Mad away. The 20-second death time as Baron secured 10,000 gold lead. And this is all but over. Mad Lions definitely playing on the front foot and not giving Vitality a single moment to reply.
Vitality just looked dizzy in that fight. Half the team was going in, half the team was going out, and they didn't know exactly what they wanted to achieve in Mad Lions. When you've got a composition like this that can so easily pick apart members that are separated, they do a fantastic job. Now with the Baron buff, they get to continue this siege and make life hella uncomfortable for Vitality.
Crazy to see how confident Mad Lions are. And this fight, I mean, it's just a one-sided affair, isn't it? It's just a slaughter. Vitality are too late to the Baron to contest it. The hook comes through onto Hilly, and he's the primary target initially. He's able to get away with his life, though, and that charm onto Perks into the chain CC, he gets the ultimate off, but he's shut down so quickly that the rest of Vitality are forced to retreat. Let's not forget that Mad Lions were so close to being eliminated by Fnatic. Their Nexus was at a few HP. They could have been eliminated then and there. They may not have even made it to the best of fives. So to see them have this level of performance in the semi-finals, what a dominant performance from Matt.
And of course, what they're playing for is a shot at MSI, as once again the engage comes out here on Perks. There should be another easy kill. My timing on that graphic was awful, but what they are playing for, because of the fact G2 were eliminated yesterday, G2 will be the second seed, and whichever team wins tomorrow's final will then represent EMEA at MSI as the first seed. And Mad Lions looking to go 1-0 up in this series, looking to silence a lot of the doubters. I know we have discussed this a fair amount, but this game has just been exceptional. They punished a decision from Bo early, and then frankly have not let up. We're 22 minutes in, and they have strangled every last available space to Vitality away.
I would also say this also just looks uncomfortable for Vitality in, okay, well, we take the Cassiopeia mid when we've got a ton of dive in mid. Photon on a tank. Upset's the only one that looks like he's uncomfort, and he's trying to make things work.
Yeah, but the game has been lost around him, frankly. You know, his lane went fine, I guess, but Hilly departing and has had a larger impact elsewhere. I mean, it's still 100% kill participation there for Elio, but more importantly, if you look down the list, 207, 210, 307, like, it really has been a very coordinated team game.
It certainly has. And perfect timing once again from Mad. They secured the top inhibitor. They don't overstay their welcome. They immediately move to the Dragon. They'll get themselves the soul, and what can they do next? Oh, move to mid lane. That's the last inhibitor that stands in their way. They're going to leave Elyoya to secure that by himself as they continue to push in these waves. Ideally, they want to sync up the side waves with the mid one so that they can get those crashing at about the same time. But this game feels done and dusted, and right now, Vitality, the best they can do is stall the game out for as long as possible with the hopes of making it annoying for Mad Lions. The worst thing you can be is in a winning position and then throw that away. So Vitality want to try and break the mental as much as they can of Mad Lions to better set themselves up for game 2.
Of course, Mad Lions hoping that the 23-minute shellacking has had an impact on the mental of Vitality. 0-3 last Monday. Most likely going to lose this game.
While Elyoya is suspicious.
Figure out what's happening next.
I mean, you're death rushing against Hilly.
Yeah.
You know that this is coming.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. They were a little... And Vitality, I mean, they literally can't stand toe-to-toe. They need to find some magical CC or hope for Mad Lions to overstep. But Chasey, he's going to take the bottom inhibitor. Top is already down. Small engage comes up. But I mean, there's not a lot that Vitality can do in this situation, Betty, because in my mind, it has to be an overstep for Mad.
Yep, pretty much. Vitality, they're fully on the defense. The Gwen will look to take the inhibitor bot. Kazi's chipping away at that mid-tier 1. And it's just a matter of time. Vitality will do what they can. Culling comes through from upset. Good damage on a Niski.
Mad Lions having one of the most dominant wins of spring for the organization. They will take third inhibitor now. Setting up for the Nexus. Charm connects once more onto Perks. Nature's Graph by some time. The tidal wave knocks them up, but that's all it's done. It's bought sometime. Where's the engage? Where's the follow forward? Charm won't find its target, but Photon steps a little too far forward. Stays alive for a few seconds longer, able to make it back to the fountain. Still a 5-on-5 and waiting for those double supers to make their way into the base. Reminder, Mad Lions have got that soul. And they're just continuing the pressure. Upset! Not gonna find the kill. Somebody heal. Keeps Kazi up. And the Hexgate will send him to safety. Mad Lions content with the inhibitors. They looked for more, and they were fended away, but 13,000 gold lead, a minute to Baron. They can decide how they want to play this out. Do they go for Baron? Do they just wait for the double supers? Mainlines have got a plethora of options.
Yeah, at least Vitality do get to hold on to their base for a little bit longer, but it feels like you're only slowing down the inevitable, especially when you've now got all 3 inhibitors down. Super Creep's going to be piling in on top of you. And 30 seconds until Baron might just get to walk straight over towards that one and pick it up. This is where at least it was a nice attempt from Vitality, but unless they could basically get all 5 men into a big perks ult, followed up by Bo, then upset raining down, that's the miracle.
Don't even bother. What do you want to see Vitality do in game 2? Because this is a matter of time, and I think it's a challenging situation because that Maokai was first pick, the Lucian Nami to follow. And I mean, that spoon feeding of Niski has had a significant impact, but you do have to start thinking, okay, what do they change?
Yeah, I think the big one for me is just actually going to a facilitator for perks in the mid lane. You know Mad Lion style is going to be, hey, we're going to take something like an Ari, a Lissandra, an Annie, something, or a Gragas for Niski in the mid lane. We're going to end up leaning down to let Karzi kind of just chill out, unlock Hilly, and start playing around the map. So I think you need perks to try and have a similar story. Same with Kaiser, right? I think you actually need to start working through this mid-jungle support trio, because otherwise you're going to just get Mad Lions doing the same thing over and over again, and not really letting Vitality play the game.
Wonder if Vitality will consider a red side approach, giving them more counter pick options, giving them the ability to get Photon a winning matchup, a lane that maybe they can better play through perhaps, but Vitality will definitely need to readjust because this early game did not go the way that they wanted. Now the Baron buff Mad Lions see the Nexus in their eyes and they're looking to end here and now.
They absolutely are. Nexus start on the bottom, is down a third. Karzi eats most of the culling and going to do significant amounts. Still has the flash available to him. Chasey's pushing in the top tower. Feathers fly. Photon goes out as well. Nature's Grasp only catches onto Hilly, followed up by the Aqua Prison. Another charm connects onto Perks. Niski has got the aimbot working. Perks' drop bow is burning. The Nexus towers are falling. And Mad Lions, fast. Vitality selected blue side. In game 1, they banned Gragas, Rakan, and Jinx so far on the same path. Biddy, what are you expecting to change, if anything? I don't want Maokai, personally.
It's gonna be the salty run back. The concern I have for Vitality with blue side is right now I feel like that they don't have a huge amount of confidence in their blind picks. I want to see the Jace or Kennen first pick. Just do it. Yesterday, we saw Kennen win like every game. Like, Kennen is just really good. And even into the Jace matchup, there are things that you can do as Kennen to be able to get ahead in that lane because Kennen is so great at setting up your lane for success. It has so many tools. So just, here it is. It's open. Vitality, lock in the Kennen.
I will tell you, by the way, in all of Photon's games, and I can see 130 of them, he only has 2 Kennen games all time. 1 win, 1 loss.
No show he doesn't play Kennen.
The salty run back has started. Maokai has been locked in, but of course, with Jinx being available, Jace Jinx was something we were talking about pre-show, and it is a possibility.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a great pickup here as well. The fact that you get the opportunity now to just completely outrange Vitality if you want to is going to be fantastic. But they're actually just going to go straight for the Sejuani, and I think this is a bit of a call-out for Upset. Upset only has a 20%, 7% win rate on Jinx, and now it's a big question of do you go for it? But no, actually going to get the Rumble in the top lane instead.
I was about to say Mad Lions are setting themselves up for a Silas priority pick, especially into the Maokai. But to see Vitality highly prioritize the top side, that is why we're seeing that shift. They were hoping for the Jace priority last game. They didn't get it. This time, though, they have the Rumble answer, and they're going to be able to get their AD mid with the Tristana that was banned away from them last game. So it seems that Vitality a lot more confident and happy with what they've been able to get this time around.
The Jinx going to be taken there for Karzi in that bot side, though, which means the Mad Lions more than likely going to ban away things like the Aphelios, the Messiah here as well. The Lucian could be the other one, just to make sure that you're fully comfortable on that bot lane. And I mean, with Rakan already gone as well, there's not a huge amount that can really contest this Jinx now, but I'm curious to see what Vitality can do with this Rumble. We've seen it a lot from Shanji over in the LPL on OMG. He likes to play hyper-aggressive, and then you just try and look for fights specifically around Rift Herald and that, and it feels like that's what Vitality's setting up for.
Do you want to know how many games Photon has played a Rumble?
Tell me.
1. It was a victory. This will be the second ever, and we'll see whether or not it's going to work out. Perks with that Tristana, most likely going to the mid lane. Cassiopeia has been removed from the pool. One more ban here from Mad Lions, and the question we are definitely going to have is what's the answer to Jinx? Jinx has been one of the surprise hits so far throughout playoffs. So we'll have to try find something into it. Xayah has now been removed as well. So Mad Lions, will they be locking in as Brom's been banned?
I think you need to take the Thresh here because otherwise you end up with the opportunity for upsetting Kaiser to go for Aphelios Thresh, which I imagine Aphelios is probably going to be the answer. And either way, you could probably go with maybe the Lulu there for Kaiser, but it still leaves Vitality in a similar spot to what we saw, I mean, a lot of times, honestly, from the drafts, which is so little engaged.
They might, I agree with you, Thresh probably makes sense, but they also might go Silas and then look to counterpick support is the other thing they might consider. And that's what they're going to do.
Yep.
When you have Sejuani, it's a big indicator that you're looking at a Silas pick, especially for Niski. I think it's great into Maokai. You also have the Rumble Ultimate that you can look to steal away. The Aphelios response, as you talked about, Upset is one of the players in Europe that we know can play it. Wouldn't be surprised to see... Oh, hang on a second. He's shifting his priorities around, just flexing possible AD carries, but the Aphelios will be the lock.
Yeah, because what I was curious to see from Mad Lions is if they go, I know you end up with the melee mid matchup, but there is the opportunity to take something like a Cassiopeia, you play from range with Jace and the Jinx, and then you can go for something like the Thresh or the Tahm Kench to keep this composition safe. You've decent engage with the Sejuani, you've great disengage as well with her and the Cassiopeia, but they are going to instead just look to try and use that early skirmishes and play for the level or the 8-minute mark, because right now the amount of damage that is coming in at the top side from both sides of the equation is absolutely insane.
Well, also can pivot there to the Renata. So Dagda, when you zoom out and look at these two compositions, you mentioned already, top half of the map is going to be crazy. You've obviously got heavy scaling from those bot laners as well. What do you make of the adaptations? And do you favor either of these drafts?
So I like the Nautilus coming through because, as we already said, I think Vitality needed more engage tools. This will set them up very nicely for when they can try and play around some of these Rift Trials on the top side, play for the level 6 off of Photon and Bow. The only thing that I'm kind of concerned about is when you look across Mad Lions with the Renata pivot, everything that Vitality does is jump in, play around the lockup from Maokai, play around the Rumble Equalizer, like trying to play around the Kaiser. Renata does fantastic into that, not only in lane, but also when you get to the later stages. And especially if you can try and keep someone like a Silas alive so he can get the resets and fights, that is absolutely terrifying for that squad.
I have many thoughts. I have many thoughts.
Please share them with us.
Well,
If only had a platform to do so.
I know. I was more like, where do I start?
You're going to run out of time, so you got to go quick.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is how safe do I believe Kazi is, right? Because I think that with the Renata, I would have preferred the Tahm Kench. I understand why they've gone for the Renata, so they have a slightly stronger lane, 2 versus 2. But as long as Kazi lives, Mad will always be able to win out on fights. And that, for me, is the biggest concern. We'll see if these adaptations are enough for Vitality. We're getting ready for Game 2, so without further ado, let's jump in.
Love the summary you just gave, Eddie. If Kazi stays alive, then Mad Lions can win fights. That's what we've seen from Jinx comps time and time again.
It's a situation where when you look at Vitality's comp, especially when you have 280 carries, you think, oh, front to back. Oh, there's pause. Pause has come out from Vitality's side. Once we have more information, we will be able to share it with you.
I think there's a bit confusion about whether or not they're playing ARAM. Perk spent so much time in the mid lane surrounded by Mad Lions. That is a very clear joke for everyone. One quick thing, while we do have a pause, I'll get an update to you in a moment or two. But I asked our stats team to take a look at the all-time head-to-head between Perks and Niski, and including Game 1. Perks is 14-7 up over Niski individually. And the only reason I do like to look at that historically, I think Niski in 2023 is starting to write a new chapter, a new story on his particular impact and influence on the game and his team. Was a crucial part of their winter success. He was spoon-fed every single kill in Game 1, and now he's a champion that is one of his more signature ones as well.
Well, what's really interesting about Niski, and I can tell you that this is very much shared in terms of like fan sentiment, is that like he is the benchmark for top EU mids. If you have to kind of go past him if you want to be considered one of the best in Europe, because when you look across his history, even back in the days when he was on, I believe it was Splice, when he was coached by Yamato. I think it was the Casio and the
Yep.
Like, he's always been a mid laner that's existed around the top of Europe, right? He's always been there. Sometimes he struggled to break into the top 2. There have been splits where he is top 2, but then the fan sentiment is always, if Nisqy is our strongest mids, then we're concerned internationally, because that is where Nisqy as a player has really failed to leave a significant impact. And I think that's the only thing that's really missing for him and his career. And of course, now that Mad's destiny is in their own hands, if they could win a split off the back of Nisqy and Elyoya's great jungle mid synergy, that is going to be tested once again. And that is what, to many, will be the immediate thing that's put under scrutiny for Nisqy in particular.
I mean, even for Nisqy, the fact he hasn't got an EMEA title yet. I mean, got one over with Cloud9, right, in NA, but to actually be able to pick a title up for himself in his own region will be absolutely fantastic. And then seeing if he can make it on to MSI and kind of prove a lot of the doubts wrong.
Yeah, I mean, fell short, obviously, in winter. Needs to pick up 2 more wins here today to face off against BDS, and Nisqy will be the man stepping forward into the middle. All right, welcome back. Game 2, 2 minutes in. No shenanigans early on. And I want to keep a close eye on that top half of the map and see whether or not these high damage duos start to get off a strong start.
So, Dagda, obviously you're a core member of the LEC talent team, but we still think of you very highly as an LPL expert. Well, I was thinking of the LPL expert. So, Shanji's Rumble. What's the word? Educate all of us Europeans on how fantastic it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very strong in lane. Obviously, the big difference is because we got the buffs coming through, I want to say it was on 13.7, where you end up seeing the changes to his E. So you end up wanting to land both the harpoons because you get an insane amount of magic resistance shred, and that's where a lot of this damage is going to come through from Photon, especially as you hit the level 3. Obviously, you want to try and manage your heat successfully, but one of the big things that Rumble does struggle with is if you can't hit those electric harpoons, well, then you can't really close the distance onto those range matchups. Bo up here to try and make sure Photon can have a decent time, though, spotted by Elyoya.
And unlike game 1, this time around doesn't get taken out. Potential 2v2 on the cards here. Elyoya stepping into the tri-bush. Flame Spitter onto Chasey, burning him down. Second harpoon didn't connect there. Elyoya and Chasey pushing back. Mid lane is under pressure as well, so is bot. So Vitality off to a strong start. The engage comes out. Elyoya down to 200, but I was going to flash for that. Despite the flash ignite on the side of Photon, if anyone sticks around, it could get a bit hairy.
Really interesting pathing from Bo. You'll notice that he doesn't have a buff. he's done Raptors, Wolves, Gromp, and immediately made it to top side. We didn't talk much about this early game jungle pathing, but
look at that damage. Ignite is burning underneath the tower. First blood secured and fletches away to safety. Elyoya gets the reply. Hit him with the drill. Not going to work out. 1-for-1 trade.
Photon was overheated, so couldn't get any of his spells off now on the bot side.
There's the root, there's the boop, there's the flash from Kazi. Cleanse used as well. Upset and Kaiser pushing them back. Vitality off to a much stronger start. They get the first blood, but there was the reply back.
A lot of what they were trying to do on the top side there is wait for Photon to hit level 3. The problem that you have with Rumble level 1 and level 2 is that you have to obviously use your spells to hit the overheat, but you want to be using your W to try and get there, so then you still have your damage abilities when you go for trades. Photon hits level 3 and immediately Vitality try to take the trade, but with the flash under tower, it all goes a bit sideways, and now Bo might be caught out again.
And we knew that this top lane matchup was going to be volatile. Both junglers recognized that in the early game and wanted to get them ahead. The fact that it was Vitality that drew first blood and the kill went over to Photon is so fantastic for him. The TP now being invested from Chasey makes this top lane matchup even better for Photon, because if they can force Chasey out of lane one more time, then this matchup can snowball out of control. Great play from the side of Vitality. Good response from Elyoya. And I believe it was actually the aftershock that ended up keeping him alive, because that auto attack came in from Photon, but it just wasn't quite enough damage.
Yeah, we get to see it here. So watch, Photon hits level 3. That's where he can actually overheat. You get the extra damage off of the Flame Spitter. And then with Chasey, really good flash underneath the tower in response to Bo to make sure that he couldn't go into the tower. But Photon then again uses the extra little bit of the shield here to try and get underneath the tower. But just the triumph coming through, the aftershock, and then not having access to any of your spells because you're locked out when you're overheated means that Photon doesn't get to make the play.
Wow. Very close stuff there. Could have been a double kill for Photon. But he's now going to be able to go back to base. You can see he did just buy boots, sold them, decided to buy damage boots instead.
I also want to highlight as well, keep your eye on the fact that Photon, he has that flash ignite, no teleport available to him. So that will be interesting to track how Vitality plays around the map and moves their individual champions. down the bottom lane, despite Kazi being engaged on, if you look at the summoner spell difference, 3 used the Mad Lions duo. Only Kaiser's Ignite is down, so they've still got all their sums up. Kaiser's already roaming, moving into that river to place those wards. So for now, Vitality in a much happier start. As Perks will get engaged on. Buster shots
Nice
being hijacked away. Niski looking very strong. Flash still available for Perks as well as the W and the R, and he's gonna hop away to safety.
For those interested, Niski has taken 2 points in Q, 2 points in W. So often you'll see that Q max into range matchups to help with the wave clear, but Niski wants a little bit more trading power, so he has 2 levels in both. You can see him using that to great effect in this matchup. Still a little bit behind in CS, you'd very much expect. Kaiser looking for a hook.
Oh, not gonna find it. Connects onto the minion. Handshaken backwards. Now Kaiser's dropped to 400. Bo gonna taxi to the minion. And then we'll escape for now. Maybe if the champion had been hit, more could have happened, but still 3v3. The mid lane is under pressure, no further engaged just yet.
So, Observer team, if we can get that tri-lane view again, it would be great to look at. As you can see, the Vitality are really pushing everywhere right now. They have push in the top lane, they have push in the mid lane, and the main place that Bo needed to be was covering for bots. This is one of the biggest differences that we're seeing from game 1. Vitality have pressure all across the map, and Bo is in the right place at the right time. He was covering for top in the early game, he's now covering for bot at about 6 minutes in the game. And overall, Vitality are doing a much better job of leveraging their pressure to build small leads, while also mitigating what Elyoya can do on the map.
And you see there, Perks pushing into the tower, picking up the plate. He's 10 CS up. In the bottom lane, upset with the advantage. He's going to step away and pick up this first dragon uncontested. And I think for Bo in particular, when I saw the Maokai locked in game 1, not super excited, only because it's not a champion that I like seeing him on. I like him on the more aggressive, damage dealer style champions. This time around, having a significantly stronger start to the game, it's a 1,000 gold lead here for Vitality and that dragon. So they've got the tools they need to extend this pace.
And I think a lot of this, though, is going to come down to how Vitality try and play team fights, because a huge amount of it, when you see a Rumble and a Maokai, is a case of how do we try and corral people into the positions that we want, either separating people with the equalizer or keeping them in check so then you can allow Upset to get into a position, because there's a huge amount of range on Mad Lions. You definitely don't want to be in a position where you're just getting poked out by the Jinx and the Jace before you even start the fight.
Kaiser trying to give a little bit of punishment back to Mad Lions. He's playing the Nautilus this time round. Level 5, looking for the hook, stepping forward, and he's going to steal away that ulti. Bo's waiting as well, but it's just the wave being pressured. The Rift Herald is up, and look at the grouping. Elyoya and Chasey sitting towards the red buff. He hasn't moved just yet, and Mad Lions, they fancy a challenge. I don't know if they're going to, as they are stepping forward into the river. Here comes Niski. Still got that depth charge available to him. Aphelios is making his way from the top lane as well. Nature's God comes down. Kazi's a mile away. Elyoya is dropped low. Super Mega Death Rocket picks up the kill for Kazi. But Niski is under threat. He's going to have the bailout, but will not find the kill. It is dropped in the river. Perks, rocket jumps forward. He gets the reset. Now turning over to Kazi and Chasey. Down to 200 HP. Flash of Lord for Hilly. Photon chases. Smack him with the overheated autos, and Vitality win the fights.
Mad Lions didn't reset in time to get up towards the top side, and by the time Karzi and Hylissang join, Photon's there as well. Great movement from Vitality to get into position for that fight.
I think it's just such a massive risk for Man to go for these mid-game fights. The first thing that Dagda said the second that we saw that Rumble pick was you want to leverage him around these mid-game Herald fights. Like, his biggest strength is, like, you only need Sork Boots to do so much damage on the Rumble. He has so much raw damage just from his levels, and Tristana, compared to a Silas at this point in the game, feels so much stronger. The Maokai with the utility that you provide. Kaiser on the Nautilus, like, there are so many tools at this point in the game where it feels like Vitality have an easier play in terms of the fight. I feel like the Mad Lions should have prioritized looking for a cross map, maybe trying to trade for plates, but instead they went for the fight and they fall short.
Might even get to see a little bit more here for Vitality as well, because you can see Felio starting to move in towards the mid lane. They want to try and push this in and start to establish vision in the spot side, or in the spot side river, so they can actually continue to keep this push forward. That's the big advantages that Vitality have been able to get, is through these lanes, and they want to try and keep that one.
Well, game 1 by this point was pretty much Mad Lions dominated, significant lead, significant proactive play. The exact opposite is happening in game 2. And I gotta give credit to the observers. They smurfed on that Kazi split cam following the Super Mega Death Rocket. He did pick up that kill. He's balanced out that CS difference. But look at the minimap. Sorry, look at the scoreboard. Advantage in the top lane for Photon. He's up 700 gold and looking to chase.
Oh no.
Equalizer is out. Electro Harpoons connect, and he's overheated, can't get that flame spit, but look at that damage and control. There's no support either, so Photon can just push this wave in. JC has to decide whether to commit that TP.
Level 9 for Photon as
Two
well.
levels up.
Yep.
You have to be careful for Vitality here, though. I think they're trying to set up for a play on bot side, actually. I was waiting to see where Chasey's TP was going to go, but he's going to immediately go back top, which means that now Vitality actually have a chance to go aggressive in mid and bot.
Well, Perks goes forward. He's not going to be able to find the hijack. Keep your eyes on the minimap. Bo looking to flank out here. Oh, you're in Helisank. Hex flashes away.
I think he dodged the vision there with his Hex Flash as well. Trying to stay in fog of war as much as possible, looking for something in the mid lane. They know that there's a ward in that bush.
They're back over. Do it again.
He will be spotted this time around. Gonna chop the sapling in.
They're hunting though, Kaiser's got that ulti available. Nature's Grasp starts to fly. Dredgeline won't find its target. Kelly buys some time with a hostile takeover. Will it be enough? Kaiser's already down. Kazi now pushed away a little bit. Upset is low on mana. White Blue Gun's running for his life. Rift Herald was dropped as well. That will charge, and Bo will be taken out. Kazi 2-0-1 right now.
Fantastic response from Mad Lions. Just very patient play. Helisank sidestep, but Photon now looking for a fight with Chasey. Should be able to get away though. But huge credit to the Mad Lions. Like, they saw exactly what Vitality was trying to do, and they shut that down.
Really well played, and it's the fact that you could barely see Oyoya try and sneak past that ult onto Upset, but doesn't get it. Doesn't matter. They still get the kill. A lot of trading back and forth in this mid lane, but I'm actually most worried about top. Photon's ultimate is about to come back off cooldown. You've Ignite there as well. You can see Chasey immediately have to give up all control over that top side.
Helisank just being a nuisance in that bottom
as he often is, just trying to screw up with that reset. As Perks secured his third play of the game, 1.4k gold lead. Of course, that's the biggest thing to take away. Even though that bot lane play didn't go that well for Vitality, and by that well, I mean it went really, really bad. They still have a 2k gold lead, and that's because of their solo laners. Photon and Perks are in such a great position with the advantages that they've been able to build.
And for Vitality, that's exactly what you wanted to see. We saw the Rumble being locked in early on in the draft in the Tristana, and they've been able to activate it exceptionally well. With the control that they've had in the lanes, now they're going to start off their second dragon as well. And I will just take a quick second. I just want to highlight just Kazi throughout the course of the bracket stage. This is excluding game number 1. But in terms of 80 carries and impact for the team, 70% kill participation, 34% of his team's damage. Keep in mind, Niski has got a couple of those Gragas games under his belt, so they'll have a little bit of impact on it. But he may be called to action in this game because of the fact this Jinx will be so crucial in those team fights.
And that's the thing, Karzi kind of gets left on his own, so Hilly can go and roam around the map, but it's that late game fight where Karzi pops off and manages to make his name known. May not want to get involved in this fight, to be perfectly honest, with Vitality already having control over here. Photon missing on the map as well. He's in mid and could easily show up to this when Chasey can't.
Dagda, do you think they want this fight? The last time Mad picked a fight at Herald, it didn't go well.
Please don't. You don't know where Rumble is. You'll show him mid-wave now. They try for the steal, and I think Mad should just back away.
When they do that, Super Mega Death Rocket was thrown out. I think crucially here for Chasey, left alone in the top lane, so he's pushed that wave in. I think he's got himself a couple plates as well.
Look at Oyoya.
Picture in picture. Glacial Prison is going to be dashed away from thanks to Gale Force. Handshake backwards. Upset firing with red purple. Hostile takeover goes out and Upset survives with his life. Cleanse buying so much and Oyoya unable to find more.
Upset does about everything that he can there to escape with his life, throwing out the ultimate with the red gun just to be able to get some life back after Mad threw everything and the kitchen sink to try and secure that kill. Now though, Vitality, they're going to re-aggress Mad Lions. They have to retreat.
Nyan Cat catches onto Hilly. Dredgeline backwards, another kill, Upset securing it.
And I understand what Mad were trying to do. You look at the timer for Rift Herald, it's like, look, make a play, bot, kill Upset, we get control over top side, let's do it, slow down this game. But the problem is, they don't make it work. Now Vitality get the turnaround, and now Vitality get to move up towards this objective as well. They still have the big ultimate for Photon, they still have Perks' ultimate, whereas when you look at all the flashes and those big ults that were burnt for Mad, they're still going to be waiting a little bit of time before they come back up and available.
Perks will be able to take out the first tower of the game here, 15 minutes in. Mad Lions will at least get their hands on the second Rift Herald, but you see a number of those mythics secured. Now for Vitality, they've got the tools, they've got the initiation, they've got the itemization to take advantage of this mid-game power that the Rumble Tristana Marka is going to have. Right now, Oyoya is going to be able to challenge at least that skill. I think he ended up losing at the end of the day. For Mad Lions, defensive game, got to play a little bit more cautious because every time that they did attempt to challenge earlier, they were punished by Vitality.
I would say that Vitality are spiking incredibly hard right now. With the Night Harvester finished for Photon, with the Kraken Slayer done for Perks, Gale Force, Upset's had it for a while, but the BF Sword on top of that and the pickaxe as well. Like, Vitality's just in a really commanding position, and this is where Mad need to be very careful about how they play the next few moments, because Vitality can blow open this game.
There's 4 members of Vitality in the top lane. X-Flash over, the Krugs helping body block just a little. Glacial Prison flown out, and I actually really think those Krugs may have saved Mad Lion's life. The tower was secured, however, and Niski is left alone in the bottom lane. And I will just remind everybody, as we start to see these teams grouping up, keep your eyes on Kazi. No flash for a few minutes, got the cleanse. Crucially, if he's able to survive and keep distance, once that burst comes down from the Rumble and the Trist, Kazi can clean up, but it is going to be so hard. The team's down 3k. It's also a little bit behind as far as the damage is concerned.
Yeah, the big question mark, though, is how can Mad Lions try and play at these side lanes so then they don't have to try and fight against Vitality. It's very hard when you're put behind like this, but they do have double TP available, whereas you're only looking at the one per perk. So maybe there's opportunities for Mad Lions to try and make plays off sides, like pick off Photon or Perks before they get to these big fights. And we kind of saw the attempt at it for Mad Lions just before Rift Herald, but if that goes a bit more successfully, maybe that's their way to slow down the pace of this game.
I mean, let's talk a little bit about Chasey. I mean, his Jace, he's played it a few times, and in terms of his impact on the team's success or playing out, I think you can debate some of that. But this game, he has been able to stay within touching distance of Photon. How is he going to be playing now on the defensive foot, knowing it's going to be so hard if anyone jumps on him?
Yeah, at least having the Gore Drinker doesn't make that a little bit easier, because when you look at Vitality, very short range, probably going to get a lot of value out of the Gore Drinker. The big thing, though, is that you're going to be seen to, if you can try and set up for Mad with Poke to try and poke down members of Vitality, you're not really getting vision control or getting set up properly in your lanes to try and make that one happen, which is why Mad are trying to brute force him in.
And look, there's not enough time. I mean, Chasey's going to arrive, but the fight's begun. Birchline connects, and that's already going to be a kill. Helisang will be drop support for support. Elyo stepping back. Chasey remains untouched. Cards now being focused by Upset. Photon buys some time going golden. Perks and Upset continue to turn around, though. Chasey's firing shock blast after shock blast. 1 for 1, but there hasn't been enough damage just yet. Now Elyoya being burned down. Perks looking for that reset, looking for the W. And the threat is still there.
This is where it's dangerous for Vitality. Mad still have that range. There's no engage tools left. So Mad going to see if they can continue to poke down Vitality.
It's important to recognize that Bo has chosen not to reset yet, staying in the bot river, relatively healthy, and the dragon spawns in about 25 seconds. Elyoya, though, quickly going back to base, means that he can restock on a few wards, also get some of his health back. Unfortunately for Mad Lions, in that last skirmish, they weren't able to time the Zhonya's correctly for Photon. Could have been another kill, with the dragon 10 seconds away. The big contest is over the mid push.
Herald as well, being dropped now. 5 seconds for that dragon. Equalizes up in 5 seconds, in 4 seconds. Perks goes up, the hijacked equalizer is dropped down from Niski. Nobody's down just yet. The pop comes out, the boop goes forward. Perks is running for his life. The tower still stands. The dragon is up. Perks can teleport in. How quickly can Mad secure the objective?
I mean, they don't have a huge amount of damage. You've even got the reset coming through from Niski to try and come back in. It's stopped by Vitality, though.
6,000 HP on the dragon. Teleport coming out. Niski hops into the pit. The Nature's Graph locks down Hilly. That's Photon. It's throwing out the equalizer. He gets the kill. The dragon pit is still now under control by Vitality. That Perks gets another. Reset to the W. Looking for Hilly. Finds the slow, finds the autos, finds another kill. And Vitality crush in the dragon pits.
Vitality win another fight. They won the one at Herald earlier, and they were able to come out on top this time round. When I saw Kazi getting another kill, I thought that could have been Mad Lion's opportunity to snowball things away. But the damage at the start of the fight was devastating. Bo's ultimate combined with Photon onto both Chasey and Kazi completely disrupted the fight and forced Mad into chaos.
It's just a really good engage by Bo here to actually get on towards Chasey. You get the ultimate there, moves in, manages to get the CC again to follow up, and just awkward positioning there for Mad, where Kazi has to try and move off. He has no real protection for himself there, which means that Perks, after he gets Hilly away, is able to turn on towards Kazi. And Niski tried his best in the pit, but there's just too many members of Vitality in the party.
I'm gonna call that Maokai Rumble combination, the Forest Fire managing to burn down Mad Lions. But I think more importantly for me, 2 big neutral objectives, fights going alright. The Rift Herald at like 8-ish minutes, and this Dragon. Mad Lions opted into both of them. Mad Lions punished. Bloodthirster and Kraken Slayer and a level advantage.
Oh my God.
And Chasey is being melted by Perks. That felt personal.
Chasey holding onto the flash, waiting for the W, but now Mad Lions on the attack.
All right, there goes the chains. Depth charge out as well. Upsets. Moonlight Vigil is wrecking through Mad Lions. Bo, however, forced to flash into the pit. Here comes Photon. Equalizer is going to be sidestepped for now. Upset trying to gain range. Gale forces forward. Gets one, gets two, and Alyoy is going to be the last to fall. Vitality looking for an ace as Alyoy is running for his life. He managed to pick himself up a double. Ring-a-ring-a-rosy. Sejuani will get Dredge line back, and the ace for Vitality.
That might have been the worst possible spot for Mad to try and fight. Maokai ultimate, Infernum on upset, he gets the big ultimate in the middle of that, and even though Photon completely whiffed with the equalizer, it didn't matter. It's just taking pop shots at everyone who's lined up neatly for Vitality.
And Vitality, we talked about in the draft how they wanted to play this front-to-back teamfight composition, and they continue to play it well. Mad see a window where they can force something with Perks no end of the fight. They get perhaps a 4 versus 3, but Rumble is able to quickly collapse as Bo and Kaiser buy a huge amount of time. Look at the chain CC, the Infernum landing onto 2. Bo is able to flash away to safety, but then Photon splits up the team fight, draws the attention of 3, chips away Hylissang, and Upset's able to clean up the fight.
A little surprised at that second kill hit from Alyoy at the end, but for Upset, 5-0-4. For Perks, 4-0-5, and crucially, every single fight that Vitality have been involved in has gone their way. So they are now up 6,000 gold. 2 minutes till the next dragon. Baron has spawned. Mad Lions, they are not going to have enough time to get any poke down from Jace, because every time Vitality line up, they are initiating and going forward, and Perks looking to do the same again.
And this is where Mad Lions base have to concede all that pressure in the top side. Yes, Chase will get terror, but this opportunity for Vitality to fight in these chokes is so good for their composition. It's why Perks is stepping forward so confidently, knowing that he'll have that follow-up. Now Vitality start the Baron to get the TP.
Do they stick on it or not? If they stick on it and flip it, this could get risky. Dredgeline connects onto Quality. No flash, no cleanse, and he's about to go down. Bailout will help, brings him back up for a second before Perks drops him once again. Bo has stuck inside the Baron pit. It ends up being a 1-for-1. Perks trying to zone away the members of Mad Lions, and Baron is secured. They get the kill, they get the neutral.
Vitality in so much more control than compared to last game. They're playing these fights so much cleaner, and it's Kaiser who initiates the fight, landing a great hook, I believe, on Dakazi, and the follow-up is clean. The Rumble ultimate comes out with 0 hesitation, but we see another fight in mid.
All right, Perks level 15 into Niski's 13. He's going to look for this kill here. Finds it in a second. One more auto into Alyoya. Baron and Part as well. That's going on. Bo plus Photon able to take down Chasey. It does end up being a 1-for-1, but now Perks gets another. It looks like he gets a tower as well.
It was a 2v1. That was against the mid laner and the jungler. Perks just stands there and goes, yeah, I can right-click. That's all good.
2v1 into a champion at a 4,000 gold lead, a 2-level advantage, and they didn't like combo up the CC. Bold move, Cotton. It did not pay off.
You can see the smile on Perks' face. A big bounce back after the camping in game 1. And you can imagine that wanting to get revenge on the mid-jungle that caused him so much suffering is very much, would make him happy.
And it also feels like Vitality have found a lot of the answers to the questions we had in draft. What do you do with a Chase? You put him in the dirt with a Rumble pick, although Chasey does manage to get some revenge with this one. And then also looking to see what the story is with the Jinx pick. Well, this Velios is popping off as well at times, making sure that it's very difficult for Mad to really try and play around Carzzy in the same way we've seen them do all playoffs long.
You can see how Perks just stands there and right-clicks, but now he's getting CC'd once again, but he doesn't care.
No, there's no follow-up. No, not enough range. Kaiser was able to zone him away. Alyoya is burning away. Perks takes a couple rockets to the face and immediately replies back, because he's running for his life. Vitality got themselves gigantically. The soul is available for them as well.
Of course, Perks has a great game in the AD carry. You know, it's just going back to his roots, really, right?
Yeah. You know, it's funny when, you know, his most recent, when you think about it, success was when he was playing AD carry for G2, and fans will say he just needs to go back to AD, and he said, okay.
Can I be a little bit more specific? His most recent success and winning splits and as a whole. And the reason I want to be specific, the 2 previous games of Tristana that Perks played this spring, or this winter, 1-3-1, 0-4-1.
Oh, fair.
So when I have seen this Tristana from
the
Perks,
charm. That's how it
third
works.
time is the charm. So
I mean, of course, it's also important to note, Perks was victorious over North America as a mid laner, of course, winning MVP over there. His return to Europe since then, though, has not been quite as fortunate. He's been struggling to get back on top, and this could be the Vitality squad that gets him there. A reuniting with BDS perhaps to get revenge. There's still a long way to go, but Vitality looking good in game 2, looking to equalize this series. And Vitality with the Baron now sieging onto the tier 2.
Perks, if you can get Vitality to their first finals as an organization, you'd also be one step closer to overtaking Caps as the player with the highest number of titles in LEC, where Caps and Perks have 8 respectively. That's something that he is playing for in this game. Definitely a strong answer from game number 1. Dredgeline comes out.
Oh, look at Kazi.
Just burning down Kazi. The forest fire doing work. Super Mega Death Rocket comes out and hits the giant tree in the face. Now the tower does still stand. Ultimately, Mad Lions, they only survived that engage. But for how much longer is the question? Vitality have not let up. They're looking to re-aggress on the inhibitor turrets.
Karzi's healed up though and now walking back out. Terror will be gone though. Vitality, get onto Niski.
Oh, Niski's dropping low. Check's not going to be there. Rocket jumps forward. Kazi flash, followed by Burks. The Auto's not going to find the grip just yet, but this will be the damage. 1, 2 members dropped already. Kazi on the fountain taken out, and underneath the steps, Burks picks up a couple more. The base is broken. 22 kills to 11. 10,000 gold the lead. And an even quicker game time than game 1. Vitality looking to bounce back.
It was 13 kills for Niski in game 1. It's 10 kills for Perks in game 2. The mid laners are looking to pop off in this series as Vitality, sub 30 minutes as well, is looking to end game 2.
Dominant win for Man in game 1. Dominant win from Vitality in game 2. Nexus will be the final target. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody else, we've got a series on our hands.
It had to be said, but man, I love this series. The fact that we get an absolute stormer performance from Mad Lions, for Vitality to then come up with answers in game 2, it feels like there's so much between these two teams that we've still yet to.
And for the Mad Lions, the first time they find themselves on the blue side in this series, so we'll see where they decide to go.
Yeah, so I think it comes down to as well, the Gragas for Mad Lions is interesting because personally I still feel like it's such a comfort pick for them that to my extent I would actually probably let the Vi through. Say if they first pick Vi, well, you know, we always have the Sire. If they don't first pick Vi, we can go for Vi, Sire in our rotations. But so far the bands are aligned in terms of what we have been expecting. I think the Jace on 3 was what we were debating right now, and if that would come through, could indicate a Kennen first pick.
I would even go so far that even if they don't ban Jace, I feel like you should be able to be willing to pick the very strong Kennen on the patch and just play it into Jace if you favor a different ban. But I do have to say I kind of like the Jace ban because last time Photon was so crazy on it. But Maokai instead, 2 games of Bo Maokai, that's a payoff for Vitality because we were kind of skeptical about it, but the fact that they pulled through and went all the way. Zaya first pick, no Rakan, but Vi is in the picture.
I like that as well because a lot of the facilitators of the junglers has been taken off the board. So if Vitality is looking for the Vi now themselves, they have to acknowledge that they are going to be playing Vi into Sire. Then there's another mid laner that could come through that we have seen Niski perform on, which would have been Delisandra, but we talked about Kennen for a long time, and there is a situation where you just say, we don't care if Jace is up, we are just going to go for the Kennen because he's such a high priority champion.
I wonder if we're going to see just the Kennen Wukong straight up. This is something that has dominated over in the LPL and the LCK, and no teams were allowed to pick it. Hasn't had the same success in Europe, but Kennen is, of course, the standout. Oh, they just don't give a damn about the Zaya ult. He's gonna have 4 other targets, so who cares?
Yeah, good point.
I really wonder. We are in a situation now where you can just say, okay, we want to be able to pair up our support immediately, but you can't really go, oh, let me blind Nautilus, that's just going to screw you up. And you also want to pick a jungler here before you move into the second rotation because a lot of them has already been taken off the board. There's 2 junglers that Elioya has played, which has been the Wukong, has been the Lee Sin. I would prefer the Wukong. Lee Sin's so much harder to play. Oh, well, I say that.
He's a professional player, GB.
I know.
Lissandra is for the combo against the Lissandra Lee. Here they could drop bot or match mid because they can play their Aphelios, they can play the Jinx, and they can also play the Lucian Nami into the Zaya. So they do have options to just answer the Lissandra right away here on 3. It could be some of the mages. They just dropped the Aphelios after a good game in the second matchup. Why not?
And I think as well, with the Lee Sin, there of course is the fact that in this comp that we see right now, you don't have to use your kick as an engage. You can use it as a disengage whenever you see the Kennen come in, and that might be where Elioya is also looking for more value. But now up towards the top side, nothing has been picked from Chasey yet. I wonder if they even care about his Jays after the first performance we saw, because right now they're only looking at some of the team fighting tools.
That's what you guys were saying as well, so it sounded like disrespect, but it wasn't. It was just looking at the games.
I wonder now what are going to Mad Lions is going to do about the support pool, because they're banning mid laners. If Team Vitality choose to 5-pick a support, then the Renata and the Braum is going to have so much value into the potential Nautilus pick, because everything is just screaming hard engage on blue side, and knowing what type of a player Hilly is, he for sure is going to pick an engage support. And Braum and Renata picked on 5, that sounds very dangerous for, of course, Mad Lions.
They do care about Jace.
Yeah, they do care about the Jace as well. I wonder as well, because how much do you value, for example, a Thresh as well in the likes of on the side of Mad Lions? You don't need to ban it to yourself. Kaiser doesn't show any priority on it, despite having paired up with the...
That's the Braum.
And with the Braum, you could just go... Nautilus is tough, but you can
Could
use
just
it
blind
to
pick Blitzcrank?
It could be,
Is that the
thing
move?
as well. Could be a thing as well, but knowing that you are playing against Lissandra, it's probably more likely that you just pick your support here and then look to R5 as support, mid laner, and then look to R5 your support.
I mean, Hilly, does he really care if it's bad into a comp?
Yeah, he's probably the guy who gives the least amount of...
Fs.
I don't have a different word. Thank you.
Syndra.
Okay, Syndra. Just a mage into Lissandra is pretty standard. Probably is going to run TP. Anything that can keep a distance. I think anything that can just mask their failures from disengage. Any disengage is very strong on red side.
It's also a really powerful engage on towards a lot of the champions that you're seeing right now, because lots of them want to use their ultimate in a reaction to another ultimate coming out. But having to make the split decision call, do I ultimate myself, for example, on Lissandra and Asaya, when you see the scatter of the week come through, that's something that's suddenly way tougher, because if the scatter comes through, then the CC change comes through, and that's harder to react to than, for example, a Vi ultimate. Now, Nautilus was banned, or Braum was banned, therefore, of course, you're looking for a Nautilus, and the response Vitality is actually just going to be straight up to Tahm Kench. Offset. Probably never going to get touched in this game, I'll be honest.
I like it a lot because they are heavily outranging the enemy composition.
Yeah.
I hope that Bo, puts his finger off of the trigger, because he doesn't need to go ever. The enemy is going to go outrange, just fish with the Phelios abilities, fish with Syndra abilities, and let the enemy come into you. And this is where Kennen can get value. Tahm Kench on the disengage. I think this is looking quite good for Team Vitality, but on the other side, Mad Lions have a very Mad Lions-esque composition. If they can find early catches, snowball onto perks in the mid like they did in the first game, things can get dicey once again. So this is going to be a volatile one.
Yeah, I really liked how this draft in general developed, because at first it's like you see the Vi come through, and then Mad Lions are really looking to, okay, how do we tailor our composition to make the Vi useless? So you get the Saya, you get the Lissandra as well. But then on the side of Vitality, they suddenly go, well, how do we make these champions useless? And then it's a lot of ease outrange. I think the Syndra is great, Tahm Kench into the Nautilus too. I actually really like Vitality's composition here.
Yeah, I think overall you need to be really happy with that, but it's all about the approach in the game, and I love that you called out Game 1 specifically, Yamato, because that was a story of Mad Lions pulling them into the chaos and getting their advantage because of that, and a great directive for Bo. Keep your finger off the trigger. You don't need to go. They will come into you, and you have the advantage. Let's see if Vitality or Mad Lions win Game 3.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift for Game 3. It's best of 5 between Mad Lions and Vitality. Winner advances to face BDS tomorrow in the finals. And right now, Mad Lions are on the blue side for the first time this series. Dagda, what do you make of the draft? We heard a great breakdown of how Vitality could play a bit more reactionary or counter-engage based on how their comp can play out.
Yeah, and I think the Desk did a great job of breaking it down. I think a huge amount of it is going to be on, perks, trying to see if you can fish for some of these stuns, Upset, being able to be the big damage dealer, Photon. Even if you just end up kind of playing keep away with the Kennen ultimates, you're still going to get value. I think the only thing that I'd like to add is how volatile the mid lane is. If you can actually end up getting either of these junglers in early, you manage to get some CC down without access to things like the cleanse for perks, he's in a lot of trouble. Niski at least has the unsealed spellbook, so maybe he can have a little bit more flexibility, but a huge amount of pressure can come through this 1-2 punch in the mid lane.
Dagda, what's your main role?
Support.
Support. So you've never played Lissandra into Syndra?
No.
It's miserable. It's the really horrible, really miserable matchup. Basically, what you'll see perks do exactly this. And there's no real way for Lissandra to trade back, because the only way you gain range on your Q is by leveraging the minions. If you just try and throw a raw Q at the Syndra, it's just not going to reach. And so Perkz can just constantly play at arm's length. And notice he's always going to play to the side of the minions as well, so that basically Nisqy can't use them to trade onto him. So he's just going to keep harassing, and you also notice Nisqy's starting, hang on, looking for a hook.
Finds it. Upset in a little bit of trouble. Feathers flying forward. Kazi able to do more. Ghost now used in reply. The root landed onto Hilly. 200 hit points, 140. Upset down to 210. Kazi stepping away. Hilly trading his HP bar primarily for upsets.
Okay, pretty good trade for the bot lane of Mad Lions overall. Perkz will now hit level 2, and you can see how scared Nisqy is. Has he already gone? That's his last corrupting pot stack already. Yeah. And it just goes to show how ruthless this matchup is. Quickshot, you were talking about our experience with Perkz' Syndra in the past, and he's pretty familiar with the champ.
I mean, he is. He's also pretty familiar with LEC. 400 LEC games for Perkz. If you'll humor me very quickly for a quick stat, do you know what champion he played in his debut game in the LEC?
His debut?
Debut game.
It was Ari, wasn't it?
It was Vladimir.
Really?
Yes, I just checked with our stats team, and right now he's going to be backed up here by Bo. Charging up on the Q, the footpath comes out, denting blow to the face, Ring of Frost forward, flash for first blood, traded in reply, Alyoya's looking for Perkz, he's got the auto, the tower secures it, 2-1 to Mad Lions.
Very over-aggressive there for Vitality. They try to make the play, but Nisqy buys so much time. The fact he doesn't die to the immediate CC is so good, meaning that he gets to escape and set up for the double kill.
I think the annoying thing to deal with the Syndra is that when you do get within her range, she has so much utility. Gets the level 3, has the claw to get the safety. Good stun from Perkz, predicting it to land earlier. Bo flashes in for the last auto attack, but then Perkz overcommits as a result. Alyoy is able to respond, and he's able to get a kill back.
Oh, little hamster's in trouble. On the mini-map, you could see Chasey getting a good trade into Photon, but now all of a sudden, the tides have changed. Okay, Photon is up, 200 hit points, steps forward, W auto into Q, and now that will force Chasey away. They're pretty even on CS. Photon will pull up a little bit with this wave pushing towards it.
Yeah, the bad news here for Chasey is this wave is exactly going straight towards Photon, and Chasey's going to have to TP back into lane very quickly as the bullying continues in the mid lane. Dark Seal being picked up for Perkz alongside the boots. Good wave clear though from Nisqy. Oh no, is Perkz really going to hold this as well? No, he's going to try and clear this out as quickly as possible. As Kazi and Hillisang look for a hook.
Another fight! Dredgeline connects. Upset flashes away immediately. Kazi's looking for all the feathers. Upset still surviving. Kaiser's low. Minion wave is going to push back towards them in just a second, but that is a lot of trading in that bottom lane.
I think Upset just about managed to flash away from the feathers before they connected, which meant that they didn't get the CC down, so barely able to escape away from that one. Heal coming through from Kaiser as well to keep his AD carry up and healthy.
All right, so dead even on gold. 2 kills to 1. We have another engage happening. Dredgeline out. Upset using that flamethrower. Kazi's being tagged. Tick, tick, boom for Kaiser. Tongue Lash gets enough HP back. No flash available. Kaiser stays alive. Nobody's dead just yet. There's no support from either team's junglers, though. Mad Lions dancing on the knife's edge. You're still dead even on CS.
No summoner spells at all in that bot lane means that there's no follow-up to come through, but it's going to be a very much a showing for both these junglers, seeing if they can get down to try and turn this lane back around. Both of them are cancelling the resets.
It's really interesting because the wave state is so horrible for Vitality that Mad basically were going to recall there so that they could set up a wave freeze, right? So in that window, Vitality was like, oh, well, if they're resetting, we'll delay our reset to push it underneath the tower so we can at least get the wave bouncing back, but they weren't quite able to do it. Now,
oh, here comes Bo. He gets jumped on first, though. Sonic Wave into Resonating Strike. Initial path out, rooted down, flashes away, and Alyoy survives. Bo stays alive a few seconds longer. He just dodges the Sonic Wave. And it was Bo looking to gank the mid lane. He ends up being the target, though.
The fact that Alyoya flashes away was great, but it meant he wasn't in range to auto-attack. So Bo just barely able to get over. Mad trying to punish the fact that the Vi had no flash from the earlier play, but they don't quite get it.
All right, so right now, Vitality doing well in top and mid lane. CS advantages for both. And also, there is a correction from our stats team. Vedius, you were so confident on the Ahri. You were right. The initial read, it was Ahri for his first game. Right now, it's just hit level 6 top lane. Photon throws out the slicing maelstrom, continues step forward, a large minion wave to work with. No backup either. Chasey's still got that flash. Stunned, 110.
Wait, he has no ult.
Energy's available, no ult yet.
Yeah,
All out just become available. No enough movement. Photon's not looking for the dive, but he continues to be oppressive and pull ahead in CS.
And that's all the Photon really needs to do. As long as he can keep pushing Chasey in and get some of these Terra plates, get that CS lead, he's going to be fine. Even Cullen in his back pocket as well. He'll easily, if this keeps up, be able to come out of the laning phase with 1,000 gold lead and make sure that he's able to be a big impact in these fights. And once again, Chasey kind of needs to be that big front line. If he's struggling to provide that, it makes it a lot easier for Vitality to play these fights.
And of course, Kazi's the only member of Mad Lions doing significantly well right now at 13 CS. Thanks to a lot of those engages from Hylissang. Chasey's going to be backed up here. No ult for Photon, no jungle support either. And Oyoyo was just shadowing for a moment or two and decided to back away. But for Photon running this cannon, pick that we've seen really taking over this weekend's games, finding in Photon's hands, and he's generating a pretty significant lead for now.
Yeah, I just had this really random memory. Quick shot. You'll remember 2016.
Yes,
do you
I
remember
do.
the SMEB incident?
Yes, yes, very well.
It was just now that Perks gets his own Korean cannon. Must be a nice change of pace for him.
For anyone that may not be as familiar, G2 got wiped. Was mid lane.
It was a famous play. Like
Yeah.
G2 was set to win
Mid
that
in a
game.
turret.
I think it was 2016 Worlds.
Correct,
And
yeah.
they could have potentially gone out of the group if they had. It may have even been 2017 Worlds. I forget exactly which Worlds it was, but yeah, an incredible ultimate from Smeb landing onto all 4 members of G2. It was incredible.
And now Photon will be asked to step up. I mean, Yamato was saying how Photon could play defensively, the Slicing Maelstrom, could also look to engage. But when you look at Cassante, Lee Sin, Lissandra, Nautilus, all of them are jumping onto you. So you've always got that option to use it defensively or
Chasey
offensively.
reads that very well. He knows that his jungle is on the dragon, and he recognizes that there's a real chance that he could very well get dived, so he moves away, and immediately Nisqy looking to make the cross map happen. The pings are coming down, bot lane in threat of a dive, upset, and Kaiser not quite level 6, which means that ulti from Kaiser will not be able to protect upset.
So the thing is, the Scuttle Crab didn't spot Bo actually moving over towards the Rift Herald, so they don't know for certain that the Rift Herald was started up, especially because Syndra was still in mid, Photon was still on top, so they didn't know for certain that you don't have Bo just immediately resetting and trying to cover bots, so Mad just decided to call off that play rather than risk too much.
Well, I'm very glad, because Mad Lions in the previous game committed to some Rift Herald fights that didn't work out particularly well. This game, Kazi and Hylissang have been able to generate a significant lead, and I think Ifya said it earlier, the wipe swap lane, Kazi, Kaiser, a lot of history. Nisqy gets jumped on and the high skill button from Perks is used. But Upset is down 300 gold. I think it is balanced out here as Photon and Perks are ahead. So Dragon goes the way of Mad Lions. Vitality, they've got their hands on Herald. No significantly, by this point in both previous games, there was several thousand gold lead for the team that eventually won.
For those interested as well, we always love to talk about our UI. If you are interested in tracking Perks' stacks on the Syndra, you can see them on his icon on the right-hand side. I think the breakpoints are 40, 80, and 120 for the respective skills. And when he gets the max stacks is when you get the execute on the ultimate. And that's really where it becomes lethal. When Syndra did get that mid-scope change, she became less of a lane bully compared to what she was, and she actually became a much stronger scaling pick. And I remember originally, I think it was last year at the beginning of this year even, where she was very prominent in the mid lane, but due to so many mobile jungle mid matchups, she became harder to play. But so far, Perks has done a pretty good job in this laning phase, bullying Nisqy around, but now he has to be very careful as Mad look for a play.
I mean, Perks has got a 60% win ratio on this champion. 35 professional games, he will be ganked, yeah. Dragon's Rage lands, Sonic Wave, resonating strike.
It's just not
very
fair.
well executed. Perks has been the recipient of a love letter from Mad Lions so many times this series.
But that's the thing, Mad Lions have been doing a great job of trying to play around the vision that has been set up for Vitality. You don't actually have a huge amount of opportunities to spot Mad as they move in behind Perks there, and that's kind of what I was talking about once you hit the level 6. Like, the opportunity to try and play around Nisqy here with Hilly is so big.
Now, I'm so happy because going into the break after game 2, I was saying to you guys, I really want to see a little bit more of a competitive back and forth game. And after 11 minutes now, the kills are balancing out the CS advantage and Vitality have accrued. So kills for Mad, CS advantage for Vitality. We're dead even on gold. 2 minutes until the next dragon. You see Kaiser just waiting to interrupt Hilly's recall.
He's done that all game.
Yep, all series long as well.
I think a huge amount of this for Vitality, though, is trying to wait for the right time to find these fights. If you look at Perks, I don't think he has a huge amount of target selection when it comes towards the ultimate, right? It feels, again, like Fish trying to set up for upset. But the last 2 fights we've had have upset without flash. So now, looking topside.
All right, Teleport is available. Sorry, Flash is available for Photon. Maybe needed. Slicing Maelstrom buys some time. He just holds on to it. Not even a Dragon's Rage needed. Easy kill here for Mad. Another 2v2 starting off. Astronaut into Catfish, and nothing else breaks. I was expecting a little bit more because of how the previous trades have gone, but there we go. Mad Lions generating the advantage.
I like the Photon didn't flash there, though. It was actually Perks going to be trading on towards Niski, but the big thing that we were just saying is I think Vitality have to play for team fights. They have to play for objectives, and a kill going to Chasey won't make or break this game, but a flash on Photon at this next Dragon or at some of these fights could be the big difference maker. And I like the Vitality are kind of thinking ahead here, saying, look, we want to try and play for this next big objective for us.
All right, now the next big fight is breaking out. Alyoya has got the ult available, stepping in. Kaiser the first focus. Riskin buying some time. Upset still takes the auto from Hilly. Alyoya follows the Lee Syndrome, but the Devourer is off, and it's interrupted. That's the first kill of the ball. The second secured, both of them going to Kazi.
Beautifully played by Mad Lions. They knew that Alyoya was on his way bot. And if we look at the last 5 minutes, Alyoya has found a gank mid, a gank top, and now a gank bot as well. He has come alive in this game, and he is getting Mad through this early game. He's found Bo.
0-3, looking for another. Involved in 5 of Mad Lions' 6 kills. I think another game where the skirmishes and the individual like mechanics in these fights early game, Mad Lions are coming out on top. Niski's going to be looking for the roam. Flash is still up for Photon, as you mentioned. No ult available to him. Until for strikes used. And here comes Niski. This is going to be too easy. Frozen Tomb secured. And the kill will be gifted over to Niski. So very nicely done, just punishing Photon for being overextended.
Right as Photon TP back into lane as well, so it'll give a good amount of opportunity there for Chasey to push this in. Dragon is up and available though, and a lot of Vitality members down here. No ult for Kaiser.
Well, let's start another fight, yeah. Helisang tries to trade line away to the wall. Alyoya, no kick available either. Here comes Kazi. He is flashless, but it may not be enough. Helisang goes down. Moonlight Vigil flies wide. Knock up, not going to connect, but it may not matter. Alyoya re-engages on the Kaiser. Support coming from Perks. Unleashed power is available. Does he find Scout of the Week? May not even be needed. Stun, instantly cleansed, and a denting blow to the back of the head. Now Vitality looking for a tower dive.
That damage was very surprising.
Yeah.
At the end, the execute onto Kazi. Don't think he was expecting it, not that he could read too much about it. Alyoya with the kick.
Back, resonating strike as well. That's another kill there for Mad Lions. They end up punishing Vitality, who stuck around.
Good call from Alyoya. He realizes Kaiser doesn't quite have his ultimate up and available, and no flash onto Perk, so immediately manages to turn that one around. Vitality, though, will move over towards the Dragon. Niski is down on bot side, but I really don't think they want to try and contest anything here.
Wow, it's crazy that Mad have 8 kills, but the game still feels very close. Niski looking to collapse. Hilisang and Alyoya are in the vicinity.
Fight.
Bono ultimate though. Kaiser has his up, but I think it's too risky of a fight for Vitality.
3 seconds of flash there for Alyoya.
I don't think they're going to dive this. This would be really in from Mad. I don't think it's worth the gamble.
Do they know that? They're sticking around.
Well, what I think that they want is the tower, because they have a big health advantage right now. Upset's very low on mana, and you
Kazi's
can see Kazi's pushed mid and has been able to rotate bot, so now they might actually look for the dive.
Kazi's coming in. Featherstorm's available to him. Hex flash forward. Niski goes for, doesn't take the Glacial Path. Kazi's now underneath the tower. Dredge line does connect. Devour by some time. Kaiser gets them out. A lot of time spent for not much.
Yeah, so now with this window, Perks can push in mid and actually trade this for a tower of his own. So even if Vitality lose bot tower, it'll overall be an even trade. So well played by Upset. His positioning was unbelievably dangerous, but he trusted Kaiser so much, knowing that he had his ultimate at his back and could take him away to safety.
And that was why they got the wave. It meant that you couldn't actually make the play happen as Mad, because there was no one to actually tank the tower. So really good call from Vitality to step away from that one. And as you say, Betty, tower goes down in mid. Photon and Chasey, though, going to keep their auto attacks going on top, and Chasey might actually be in a bit of trouble here.
I mean, a little bit here. Photon is still up 20 CS. Chasey's still got the flash and the all-out. If Photon sticks around, Kelly is making his way up. No ult, but here comes Alyoya as well. So Photon got to be able to respond to this. Remember, we saw Chasey backing away, a potential dive. He respected it, fell away from that tower. And with that ward dying, now Photon's doing the same. What it does do, though, is Mad Lions can start off the Rift Heralds.
With Mad Lions constantly making these plays, though, it means that a lot of the tools that Vitality are trying to use are disjointed. No ult on Kaiser as the Rift Herald is starting. No safety for Upset. No flashes galore on Vitality. So it means that Mad Lions can actually utilize their composition that little bit better to make the play. Bo looking for the steal, though.
Oh, is this the Bo show? Not sure. Steals it. Can he get to the eye? Is locked in place. Scat to the weak, buys time, rooted immediately. Here comes Photon. He gets the eye, and he gets out. Now, if that Rift Rift Herald can be used to unlock a tower. Maybe you'll make back that gold difference of losing Bo's life, but Mad Lions, they will get a tower.
The reason why that's a pretty big deal is Syndra is a very difficult champion to siege up against, especially when you have a relatively short-range comp that Mad Lions have. Anyone that's ever played against a Syndra knows that if you're near that tower and she lands the QE, you're basically dead. Mad, though, on the offense top lane.
Kill the hamster, kill the hamster! The mine goes out, flashes away this time round. Dredgeline pulls him all the way backwards. Knocked out as well. Kill secured. Teleport comes in here for Perks, and this will just be to hold the tower. Mad Lions, they get the kill, they get the flash as well.
So even though Vitality denied the Herald, what did Mad get off the back of that? A kill onto Bo and a kill onto Photon. Perks is going to continue to hold this top tower for as long as he can. Perks though lands the stun. He needs a little bit. He needs. Wow, he needs a lot more damage before he can get that execute. But Vitality, they keep the gold close, but Mad Lions, after equalizing, have suddenly gained ahead again.
It was nice timing from Mad Lions, though, because there's nowhere really on the map for Vitality to threaten with all that pressure on top side from Mad. The Wave and bot wasn't really pushed in. Wave mid wasn't really going to threaten onto a tier 2. And honestly, if you just look at Upset, he's just been walking back and forth in mid.
Right now, Niski's walking back and forth to avoid those Dark Spheres. Does survive long enough. Bo will jump onto Alyoya. Looking at the minimap, a little bit of support coming up from Vitality. They are now down 1,600 gold. The Mad Lions have been able to string together enough kills to generate a large advantage.
Now, Photon does have TP, so I imagine he'll be sent off to the bot lane. You can see that directional ping on the minimap. 10 to 3 in kills as you highlighted. Quick shot. And huge props to Niski this game. This matchup is not an easy one. He's worked very well with his jungler to mitigate the pressure that Perks was able to put down. Let's have a look back at this play. Photon uses the empowered blast cone to create, well, gain a lot of distance. Q's over, auto attacks the eye into the smite. Then he ults immediately. He almost gets out of here thanks to a great knockback from Perks, but then the flash W from Niski as the cannon then sneaks in like the ninja that he is and walks away with the prize.
I mean, nicely done by Photon. Now looking though, Dragon in 30 seconds, that's going to be the big
The
fight.
audience just laughed at Cannon's face.
Yes,
okay?
I know. That's not cool.
That's not cool,
That's
audience.
really not cool.
Like, Cannon's just a ninja trying to have a great time.
A space ninja, by the way.
A space ninja.
Space ninjas are
The
better than normal
deadliest of them
ninjas.
all.
Yeah.
Quite right, Dacta.
Well, right now, Photon will need to call on the deadliness, because right now he's been deaded 3 times.
That's
0-3-0. He's been stuck in lane, to be fair. And we've had a number of like small skirmishes across the map.